All right, guys, so if you have your social studies textbook, you should open it up to page 294. That's what page I'm on, and we're going to read this chapter, lesson 3, called Rails Across California. It's 1870 and you live in New York City. Your uncle owns a business in San Francisco. Last year, a new railroad connected California to the East Coast, and now you hope to travel by rail to visit your uncle. But a one-way ticket to San Francisco costs about $100. That's more than your family earns in a month. Still, this is the quickest route to California. A photograph of a train. This train stopped in Nevada on its way to Sacramento, so you can kind of see what the trains look like at that time. There's a photograph at the top of the next page. This detail from a painting by William Hahn shows the train station in Sacramento in 1874. Kind of a busy place. Effects of the railroad. When the Transcontinental Railroad was completed, Californians were thrilled. People in Sacramento hoped that the railroad would help the city grow. In San Francisco, business owners were eager to send goods from Asia by rail to the East Coast. The railroad did lead to growth. However, it also caused problems for some businesses. It brought new products into the state that sometimes cost less than goods made and sold in California. Many businesses in the state suffered and closed. In addition, the state faced hard economic times during the early 1870s. As a result, Sacramento did not grow as much as people had expected. In 1869, the opening of the Suez Canal, halfway through the world in Egypt, provided a new way to ship Asian goods to the East Coast. Business owners in San Francisco did not make the money they thought they would by sending Asian goods east. The economy of other California cities suffered too. More railroads. Before the Transcontinental Railroad was finished, the Big Four had begun building other railroads in California. One of these was the Southern Pacific Railroad. Part of this railroad ran through the Central Valley from Stockton to Los Angeles. Towns along the railroad's route, such as Bakersfield, Modesto, Fresno, and Merced, grew quickly. In return for building tracks, the Southern Pacific Railroad had gained more than 11 million acres of land. This was a result of the Pacific Railroad Act of 1862. The act granted large areas of land surrounding railroad tracks to the railroad company that laid the tracks. The Big Four gained more and more land with every new railroad track that they laid in California. As they grew wealthier, they bought or started other railroads, including the Western Pacific and the California Southern. The railroads owned by the Big Four stretched in so many directions that they were nicknamed the Octopus. For almost 20 years, the Big Four's railroads had little competition in California. In business, competition is a contest among companies to get the most customers or to sell the most products. Because the railroads owned by the Big Four had little competition, they could charge high prices for train tickets. At one time, a round-trip ticket from the east to California cost more than $200. That is equal to about $3,578 in today's money. So you notice this cartoon here from 1882. Remember that name, the octopus? But it's not a very nice octopus. It's like they're showing how it's squeezing these working people. I'm going back, and here's a picture here. It says, according to the map, which railroad line links San Francisco to Sacramento? So right here we have a map of some western states and different railroads. So San Francisco is right here. If I wanted to go to Sacramento, I would travel this green one, which is the Central Pacific Railroad. So it seems like Sacramento is like a center point, and then it kind of breaks off into different ways. So you could travel all over the place on railroads as they built more and more track. And that's the end of that lesson. So that's all for this week.